Hello everybody, this is Tazana Simtunda and welcome to Know the Law. In today's episode, we're going to talk about customary marriage. So you want to get married, you find your spouse and you want to say, okay, which route are you going to take if you want to get married? It's what we call statutory law, as earlier alluded, also have what we call customary law. So now this time we're going to talk about customary law in depth, just to give you an understanding so that when we're deciding who you want to, when you want to marry, you decide which route you're going to take and you stick it like that. So, under customary marriage is basically where an intending couple wants to get married, then they involve the parents, the relatives, sit down, just following customs and traditions that have been passed from generation to generation, and this practice has been very common and widely accepted in the society. So, for example, this kind of type of marriage is different based on tribal differences. Members will conduct their own, Twengas will conduct their own, Lozis, Mambwes, Tumbukas, everybody, they have got their way of how they conduct their marriage and how they charge their bride price, which is called lobola, and all manner of differences, and how they move the spouse from one place to the other, up until everything, and up until the marriage deal is done. So, under customary marriage, lobola is very important. Very, very important. If lobola is not paid, you get someone, you get, say, you get your spouse, start living together, like paying lobola. After issues arose, the courts will not recognize that as marriage because lobola is essentially what binds the two. So you have to pay lobola. So even if you go to see your parents, they charge you, and you don't make any payment, even if you had the agreement, and you take the woman, start living together many years, even if you raise children together, you have properties, the question that would be brought before the court is, were you legally married? So if you haven't paid lobola, that's a problem. The second requirement, which is very important, is parental consent, where the parents of the partners want to marry, they must agree. So, for example, if you approach the family of a woman and want to marry their daughter, even if the woman agrees, but the parents do not agree, that is a problem, and it must be established either by the courts or anybody when the issues of marriage arise. To say, did you marry? No, if it's not for marriage, we didn't agree. I don't know how we have landed ourselves in this matter. So the issue of parental consent is very important. In the other one, statutory marriage, there's no need for parental consent. Just get the two of you, get married, and like, you need to have your partner age of 21. But with this one, very important. So sometimes you go and ask, even when it comes to the issue of divorce, they call the parents or the representatives standing in for the parents, say, are you agreeing? Even when it comes to divorce, the parents also play a role. So the issue of lobola, the issue of parental consent, even if the woman loves the person, wants to marry, there's no parental consent, issues arise. Polygamy is allowed in this one. You're married today, your man wants to get another wife, marry again. So bigamy is not a problem here. Person can marry as many wives as he can provide, as long as he's able to provide for them. And also, there's no minimum age for one to get married, as long as the person has reached puberty and so on, they're able to show that they are able to. Of course, now it's arguable because the law has brought in the issue of the limitation of how long or how old a person can get to be, whether customary or statutory. So they've put a limitation of the number required because they want to reduce and fight against the early child marriage. So having understood this, it's worthy of note that even if this thing is not registered, it's still legal. Even if you have not registered anywhere, you just as parents, you discuss they've agreed, you paid your lobola, you can take your wife, it ends there. That is already binding. So when you have issues when you go to court, this practice, sometimes they'll ask you, did you pay lobola? Yes. Did your parents agree? Yes. That is marriage. That's enough to establish the aspect of customary marriage. Now that you know, it's up to you to decide whether you can go for customary marriage or you can go for statutory marriage. Up until next time, this is Not the Law.